I do ride motorcycles. Any other motorcycle riders in the room? 2. The others, dead. I actually won my motorcycle. I won it on Let's Make a Deal. Yeah, isn't that insane? I'm gonna tell you guys a story. It was insane. So I had just come back from a trip to Cancun. So I was just like so hungover and had experienced like a week of gastric situations, let's call it that. How many of you guys have seen Let's Make a Deal? It's been around for so long. Don't be too proud. So when you go on Let's Make a Deal, you have to dress up in a costume. And so I came back and I just dressed up like a wizard, but I didn't have like an outfit. So I just put on a bunch of black stuff, and I had this long gray black sweater, and I wore like a little beanie, and I had a magic wand. It was a nice wand. So I was like a hipster wizard. That was my costume. And I walk up to the security guard, and he's like, "Excuse me, sir, I can't let you in here with that." And I'm like, "The wand?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's a weapon." And I'm like, "Yes, it is." And he's like, "You could poke someone's eye out with that." And I was like, "Sir, with all due respect, I don't think you know how wands work. I could do so much more damage." But low-key, I actually think is a great form of self-defense, honestly. Because if your wand is awesome, like really, truly great, like looks good. Here's the thing, I live in downtown Los Angeles, fairly seedy area. And I think that if I just took a wand and put it in my pants, covered it with a jacket or something, you know? And I walk around downtown, and yeah, I've got a $100 bill I'm kind of waving around, like, oh, what do I do with this? And some low-level mugger approaches me like, "Oh, give me your money," and he pulls out a gun. Here's what I do. I look him dead in the eye, fully confident, and I just go, "Come on. Come on. You don't want to mess with this. Come on, I mean, let's just talk about this for a second, you know." It's a great one. Because you have to understand that this is a man who came up to me, and a second ago he was like, "I'm about to get $100. And now he's doubting all of his life choices, and he's like, "Fuck, there might be wizards, I don't know." That's like a serious concern for this guy. And he's got a gun, sure, but guns, they miss all the time. Wands, boom, one hit kill. Don't even have to aim. Avada Kedavra, dead easy. Sorry, I'll holster this. Sorry, that was intense. I don't want to. A lot of Russians in the room. I told you I was armed. Here's one thing you might not know. This is something people don't know unless they've been on a game show. Has anyone in this room ever even been on a game show? Wow. Doesn't that tell you that we're in Los Angeles or what? When half the room is like, "Yeah, I did Price is Right, whatever, like 5 times. What they don't tell you is that you don't just get to walk away. I'm just gonna leave this here to remind you that I'm dangerous. You don't get to just leave with whatever it is that you won on that game show. I didn't just ride off into the sunset on my motorcycle. That's not how it works. Sometimes it can take up to 90 days after your air date, which for me was 6 months. 6 fucking months, you guys. I have wanted a bike my entire life. Always. And everyone in my life was like, "Don't do it, don't get it." And now, yeah, they're right. And so for me, that whole 6 months, I was like, "Oh, I want a motorcycle. I want a motorcycle." It's like telling a 14-year-old kid that he gets to touch boobies in 6 months. That kid, every single day, is gonna be like, "Boobies, boobies, boobies." It's like a sexual Chinese water torture, just boobies, 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 boobies. And I've touched boobies. But I've never been given a free motorcycle. So I was obsessed. I watched every video that I could find. I read every review I could find. I took pictures and downloaded them on my phone. I put them as my wallpaper. I printed out a few. I drew sketches of me on the bike, some of which were nude. I made a quilt, like I wanted that bike. And then I got it. They just delivered it to me, and I rode it for 2 years. And it was like the best 2 years of my life. And then I crashed it. And I almost died. Which, annoyingly is just another thing I almost did in Hollywood. Success is always just out of reach in this city. And I keep telling myself, you know what, Greg, just because you didn't die this time doesn't mean you won't die next time. You're in the mix. You gotta book the room, not the gig. That's the important thing. Death saw my tape and he was like, I like that guy. He's grounded.